All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. This video is entitled You're Not Empathetic to Their Grind. Okay, I was on a hangout with Lady Mocha. Go subscribe to her channel if you're good content creator. And at the end, we were talking about relationships, and at the end, I made my last little point, but I was like, I'm gonna make a video about this. So this is what this is. There are people who are around people who are progressive, productive, successful, and they're not empathetic to their grind. They're like, they get kind of entitled because they look at this person as if they're not really doing much, because when you meet a person, you kind of grow some kind of resentment for them when you see the path they've chosen and they start to make it look easy. And because they make it look easy, you're not empathetic to their grind. And what I mean by that is, and I've seen this, it plays out in, all forms and fashions. Somebody may make a decision to be something. And they've been working at this for a long time. They've been cultivating their skills. They've been perfecting their craft at this particular thing. And if they're very successful at it, they have these showcases, because we're, as people, we see the events, right? We see the showcase when somebody shows up and they show you how good they are at this particular thing, or why they have an expertise in this particular thing. They break it down in a way that it looks masterful for everybody who's watching. But along the way, you're not empathetic to the grind because, that's all they do is this. But you forget this person might have put 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years into this particular craft. So, of course, if you do something for long enough, it gets easier for that person to do, and they perfect and hone certain fine points. Sometimes they break it down and build it back up to get better. So you really don't see the grind that it took. And what I mean by being empathetic is, see, there used to be a time where you would have to emulate another person. Kind of like an apprentice or intern, even if you didn't want to do what they do, because now you have to see the work it takes to get the results that they produce. And, even on a family level, there was a time where, the father would emulate the mother, and the mother would emulate the father, so they could respect with each other's roles, because it looks easy until you the one doing it. When you the one doing it, it ain't so easy, and it's like, okay, I don't, this way you don't complain at another person. And I've been in these experiences, various things, either doing them or watching them, where you have those moments when people go, oh, I didn't know it was like that. So, using stuff that people like relating to. Older cousin was a professional athlete. His younger brother was an artist. I was an athlete and an artist, right? And we would go out, and I would go out with my older cousin in the off season, and we would work out, because at the time I wanted to still be an athlete. And his younger brother was like, he ain't really doing nothing. But see, here was the thing. His younger brother would never do that. It's 100 degrees, and in Texas with the humidity, like in Chicago, they have the wind chill factor, right? So it might be 5 degrees outside, but the wind chill might make it -20. So with the humidity, it feels like 117, right? So we outside on the track at the hottest time of the day, getting it, just going at it, just 400s, 200s, 100s, the 200 a 200 jog the curve, sprint the 100. Do that 4 to 8 times, and going back and forth 40 yards, 80 yards, 100 yards, dashes and sprints and all kinds of stuff, drills and one-on-ones. And there were other guys who were in the league with him that would come and work out. And one day my younger cousin got, he said, man, I can do this. He lasted about a good 7 minutes, including the warm-up, because all of a sudden, all he saw was his brother on television. He didn't see his brother doing that stuff in the off season because he was too busy kicking it. He didn't see his brother sitting in the house watching film while everybody else, is watching quote unquote TV kicking it. He's watching film. He didn't see that part. He didn't see the works and the foods and all that other stuff. So he wasn't empathetic to the grind. He didn't know what it's like to wake up in the morning when you really can't walk because you're really sore, but you got to get ready for next week. He didn't understand that grind. So he wasn't empathetic to it. But that one workout was like, time out. I'm tapping out. I don't want no parts. See, and then then he didn't get the part where now you got to take this. And it's hot summertime. Then you got to go to camp, and now you got to go compete. See, now you got to compete, because all of this workout was just a pre-workout to actually competing against the people who were working out too. And then when you earn your spot, now you got to compete to get your paycheck. He didn't, he wasn't empathetic to that grind. Same thing when it was creativity. You see people, making music and making songs is easy. All you got to do is this, that, and the third. And every now and then I'll put somebody to the test. Okay, write this and perform. You make a song, write it and perform it. Because the one thing about creativity, it looks easy when somebody else is doing it, but it's a very difficult thing to create something in your mind and make it tangible for the world and have it the way that you wanted it to be presented. And people don't understand that, because you think you're just going to do anything and just give it to the world. That doesn't make it good. See, you have to focus in on certain parts of a craft to make everything okay. Because when people think you just show up, I'ma do this, I'ma do this, is because people stupid nowadays and they'll take anything. But you don't know the time and the effort it takes, and it takes. And what I mean by takes, you don't know how many times you got to get it right over. You don't like it that way. You got to do it again and again and again and again and again and again. You got to voice over to get it right. Certain inflections in your voice, you got to be ready for that. And then you got to be able to take it out on the road and perform it in front of people and hope they get it the same way you gave it. It ain't as easy as it looks. Same thing. I remember, because people aren't empathetic to that. And then when you put a person on the spot and they have to do it, then it's like, oh, now I see why this is taking so long. Now I see why you like doing this, because what a lot of times it is, people gravitate to something that challenges them. That challenge of, can I do it again, turns them on. This is why people have a certain grind. Can I do this again? It's not necessarily about the money. It's about the grind and the competition and the pushing yourself to places you feel like you haven't been before. That is interesting. And I was get to physics, projectiles, when I was younger. I was in a physics honors class, and we were doing we were doing calculations on projectiles. In a small way, we have a nerve gun, and we figure out the schematics or whatever, the specs of the nerve gun, the speed, all that, speed, force, weight, speed, force. It's been a minute, but so people in the hallway just trying to shoot one of the dart guns into a cup across the hall, like down the hall. So when people coming by, it's like, oh, that's easy. It's like, okay, no, it's not that easy, because we got to get the math right before we shoot. You got to get the math right and see where we at. So literally, you had to take all the factors that were, gun, weight, speed, a distance. We were in the hallway, so we didn't have to account for wind or nothing like that. And angle, and trajectory, and then you shoot. And then when you don't, if you don't hit it, then you okay, we off by this much. This is what is going on. This. You started from over. And see, people didn't respect that grind of figuring it out to get it just right mathematically until we made somebody else do it. Oh, so you think it's that easy? Okay, well, here's the factors, here's the equation. You get it right. And then people, I just was gonna shoot. Bow. No, I'm gonna shoot again. No. Ain't no shoot again. No. This is about math. This is about engineering. You know what I'm saying? This is science that we talking about. Like, it's not just, it's not a Rambo, unloading a 50 caliber shot and dog. Oh, no, you got to get this part right. And then you got to think about, geometry, trig, all that other stuff that came into play. Like I said, trajectory, all that stuff. Not all of the stuff that you were doing has to come into the play. Same thing, we was working on frequency and stuff like that. But people don't respect other people's grind. You're not empathetic to it. And then when you put somebody outside of that realm who just thinks it looks easy in that realm, and then they go, all right. Because this is why, the irony of like kids and tutoring. This is how nerds wind up getting respect from athletes, and athletes wind up getting respect from nerds, because they wind up switching roles. Like, oh, this is okay. This ain't so easily done. And a reason I'm talking about this is because when you're dealing with people, people don't know the amount of effort it takes to be excellent at anything, because they think they look at people who make it easy and think, oh, this person just showed up. No, they showed up after years of fine tuning and honing their skills. That's when they showed up. That's why people say there's no such thing as an overnight success. But a lot of us don't get that. A lot of us think, oh, all they got to do is just hit go and go. No, it's not like that. And the reason I'm saying this is because people get entitled around people because they're not empathetic to their grind. But then when you put somebody like that in that person's grind, they can't handle it. And you got to remember something. Their grind ain't the showcase. See, you just see the showcase. That's what you really are not empathetic to their grind, because you see the showcase and that's all that counts. You don't think about the amount of work it takes to get to the showcase. That's not what you showed up for. You're not showing up for the preparation. You showing up for the show. So you just see the show. And then when people have to put the preparation in front of you, then you see, oh, wow. Okay, my bad. So This is the end of this video. Y'all have a good one. Peace.